Good morning, everyone. We'll start. And before we listen to a teaching today, we'll just gather ourselves and bring our mind back to the home, which is this body. So, just taking a few moments to gather ourselves with the help of breath. Just gathering ourselves with the breath and bringing the mind home in the body. And if thoughts are there, right now we are not focusing on thoughts, we are just bringing our mind back home in the body with the thread of breath. Just remaining in a basic mindfulness of breathing, mindfulness of the body. In gathering all the threads of consciousness within ourselves with the support of breath. Nothing else is more important right now. And if there are any feelings of sadness, anxiety, fear, turmoil, just being there for those feelings, being home for those feelings, and continue to be aware of the breathing. Very relaxed and yet very alert. Just bringing the mind home in the body. Showing up for our own self. Being home so that we know what is happening in our home. And if there is a fire in the home and I'm not home, I can't take care. I have to be home to know that there is fire. And when we bring the mind home in the body with the breath, support of breath, then I'm home. I know what's going on. And I'm there for what's going on. I'm showing up for my own self. I'm not absent from my life. I am here. And just like if I have to, in our relationships, how do I show I care? I show up. I'm available. And if I really care for my being, if I care for this life, I'm willing to show up within myself, for myself. I am present, I am aware. Just holding myself in a loving embrace from within and sharing that I am here. Telling myself I am here. And telling myself we can go through all what is going on together. I am not alone, I am with my own self. So we can take care of all the happenings and ups and downs and go through it all together with myself, like a best friend. And when we bring the mind to the body, to the breathing, that's what I'm doing. I'm showing up for my own self. While usually I'm absent, now I show up. So today there is a teaching that I wanted to share about showing up for our own self. How meditation or bringing the mind home in the body is showing up for yourself, showing up for your life. And we are going to maybe listen, not the whole teaching, we can't maybe take up today because of the lack of time. I have to maybe take up a clip today from this teaching, which is, I'm hoping that it will be beneficial for all of us to listen to. So just sharing it all with you. So it's by Ajahn Amaro, who was a disciple of Ajahn Chah, a very well-known Buddhist teacher. And here he's talking about how meditation practices they help us or benefit us. So maybe let's listen to some of it and then we can maybe share our reflections.
So meditation is, in a way, it's simply about learning how to be fully with your life. we think of meditation as, say, sitting down with our eyes closed and focusing our attention on our breath, or walking backwards and forwards on a path, watching our footsteps. So those are what we would call formal meditation practices. But meditation is much broader, and its purpose is much broader. So many years ago, this European researcher came to visit Ajahn Chah, our teacher, in Wat Nong Bapong in Ubon province. And he was asking all these different gurus and meditation teachers, 3 questions. Yeah. Why do you meditate? How do you meditate? And what's the result of your meditation? And Ajahn Chah, he was quite amused by this sort of very serious intellectual approach. And he kind of gave the researcher a bad time. But eventually, he kind of teased him a bit in his usual way. But eventually he said, well, I want to ask you 3 questions in return. Why do you eat? How do you eat? And what's the result of having eaten? And the researcher was offended. Like, what do you mean? Yeah, I'm asking you a serious question and you're making fun of me. And Ajahn Chah said, no, I'm not. Because meditation is food for the heart, is food for the mind. And so you might think of meditation as some kind of optional extra to life. But if you really want to be alive, then you need to pay attention to your life. You need to be there for it. And meditation is simply showing up for your own life, paying attention to what you feel, what you think, what you like, what you dislike, your relationships, your perceptions of the world, the way you work, all these different dimensions of our existence. Meditation is about learning to watch, learning to listen, learning to see where our mental habits create problems, attaching to like and dislike, believing in opinions, following desires and fears and aversions in an unconscious way. The more that we pay attention to our life and our mind and how the mind functions with the world, the more we're able to live in tune with things. And this is what you can call food for the heart, or what really nourishes us as a human being. So he said to this gentleman, I'm not making fun of you. Yeah, well, not completely. I'm not making fun of you. But I ask these questions because meditation is as essential to life, really, to being really alive, as food is for keeping the body alive. And the Buddha said, mindfulness is the path to the deathless, to the amata dhamma. Heedlessness is the path to death. The mindful never die. The heedless are as if dead already. So that's quite a strident thing to say, quite an emphatic, strong statement. And so people wonder, well, what does he mean? He say, if you're mindful, does it mean that your body's never going to die? It's like, no. What it means is, if you're mindful, if you're fully aware, then the mind doesn't get identified with all of the risings and passings away, the beginnings and endings, the births and deaths, successes and failures, gains and losses, loves and hates. That the heart is open and is free in relationship to all of the comings and goings of life. So, in a sense, he said, the mindful do not die. It's like the mindful, their hearts are open to all things. They're free from attachment to birth and death, as we would say in Buddhism, but they're free from attachment to being praised, being criticized, being rich, being poor, being happy or being unhappy. If you're wise, you can feel, a strong sense of grief. Just yesterday, someone was asking this question at a Dhamma talk. You can feel grief. Say that your mother's died or your father's died. You can have tears running down your face, feeling the sadness of your mother dying, but you can be completely at peace at the same time. It's a sad feeling, the tears are running, but you're absolutely okay. And to our thinking mind, you might, well, that's impossible. Either you're really upset, like, oh, my mother's died, or you're really cold, like, I don't care. All sankharas arise and pass away. you know. But it's not. It's the middle way is where we feel emotion, we feel happiness or excitement, we feel fear or like and dislike, we feel grief. But the heart is completely aware of them and unentangled in them, and not identified with them. So that when we are, say, developing mindfulness, or anyway, full heartfulness, or when the heart is full of the present moment, the mind is full of the present moment, then, as the Buddha put it, we're really alive. And then to say the heedless are as if dead already. And the Thai word pramat means crazy, like drunk or crazy. Pramat, that comes from the Pali pamada. So he said that those who are pamada are as if dead already. It's like your body might be breathing and you might be moving around, you might have a high-powered job, but if you're heedless, you're as good as dead. You're not really there for your own life. You're with someone, but you don't see them. You just see your own projections about them. Is the guy attractive? Is he not attractive? Is he rich? What can I get from him? What does he want to get from me? You know, am I more handsome than he is? Or is he more handsome than I am? You know, that you're not seeing the other person. You're filled with your own fears and projections. You know, even as a monk, you know, you can have this kind of, is that person, they got a higher rank than me? Are they not? Is their meditation better than mine? Or my meditation's better than him? I'm being interviewed by a TV program. I'm more special than that monk who's not being interviewed. Look at me. You know, then if our mind is heedless and filled with self-centered thinking, then you're not really alive. You know, if you believe in those thoughts and invest in them, you're as good as dead, according to the Buddha's estimation. So meditation then is, we use the exercises like mindfulness of breathing, mindfulness of walking, metta bhavana, loving kindness meditation. Those are all, say, particular methods that we can use in order to help bring our attention to the present moment. And then vipassana, loving kindness meditation, helps us to have an attitude of what I call radical acceptance, so that the heart is open to everything. It does not contend against anything. That, you know, there's the heart of metta recognizes that everything belongs, even that difficult person, they belong. That person who just took the best parking place in the car park, and I have to go and drive around and around and around to find another parking place. Even that guy, I can have loving kindness for. To have loving kindness for the pains in your body, or the say repetitive, obsessive thought. You can have loving kindness even for your own anger. Not that you like it, or that you are glad that it's there, but you recognize anger is part of nature, and obsessive thought is part of nature. Somebody's got to get the good parking space. Why shouldn't it be that guy instead of me? Why not? You know, sometimes I get the good parking spaces, sometimes I don't. That's the way nature works.
Yeah, so I just stopped it half. I think all of us can, if they like, they can listen it to it full. I had shared it on the meditation group also. And I really, really appreciated this particular teaching because, first of all, it's very simple. You know, that just meditation is just showing up for your own self, showing up for your own life. That I am present to whatever is happening within me. You know, all the repetitive patterns, you know, all the judgments that go on in me. I am aware of them. It's not that I become the judgment. I am aware of the judgment. And then there is a freedom, because then there is a choice. Because when I see judgment arises in me and I am aware of the judgment, then I have, in that breathing space that I created by awareness, like this is judgment and this is my awareness, you know, I created a breathing space. Earlier I was the judgment, but now I create a breathing space between whatever is happening in my being, sadness, happiness, sorrow, jealousy, ambition, and I am aware that all the ripples are there. So I think in this breathing space that we create, we have also the freedom to choose that what do I want to identify with? Do I want to identify with the jealousy, or do I want to step back and stay rooted in myself? And that's even what Sri Aurobindo talks about. That's true self mastery. Usually we are trying to master the outer situations, that this is how the situation should work, and this is how I wanted it to be, and it's not happening in that way. So all the time we see that we are trying to fix the outer situations, fix outer people in our life, try to fix their behavior. And this is not happening with none of us. This is happening. Why? Because the true intention of our being is to have self mastery within ourselves. And it's not that I would first have self mastery outside and then I would have mastery over me. It's actually the other way around, that people who have slowly, with baby steps, gained mastery over their own being, they are the ones who slowly develop even the mastery over outer circumstances. They do. It's not the other way around. It cannot be. So I think first I have to see and create, through being meditative, being aware of the ripples that are happening in my being aware of the triggers, the patterns that are running in my being aware of what are the thinking thoughts going on 24 hours in my head, looking at them, looking at my feelings, that I, begin to step back from that surface consciousness and take a step towards my own sanity, my own benefit. Because then I realize that, oh, identifying with ambition is not helping me. Identifying with greed, identifying with judgments is not helping me. And I want to keep my being nurtured. I want to keep my being sane, peaceful, joyful. So then I have the freedom to step back. And that's what a meditative life is. And what you were sharing, that it may appear that it's just sitting in meditation, but it's not just that. We can begin from there, but then it has to just stretch throughout our 24 hours, that I am present for my own being. I know what is happening in my life. I know what is happening in my thoughts and feelings. There may be an outer trigger somewhere, but now I know what that is doing to me. And then I can make a choice, make a decision, what is the best possible step for my own benefit, for my own sanity. That's what meditation is about. It's not just about sitting, it's about living a life which is slowly, moment by moment, meditative. I am aware what's happening, like a vigilant guard. So this really resonated, and I thought um, it would be nice to share. So any thoughts, any reflections, if there are? At one point of time, Thich Nhat Hanh shares in a talk that you may have parallelly some sadness, some turmoil going on, and parallelly with mindfulness of that particular emotion or feeling, like the mind is home. Like, when a child comes crying to you, most of the times it's just enough to hold the child, let him cry for as long as he wants to cry, and you are just there holding, because you know that this will pass. You know that the child cannot just cry forever, right? He will cry for some time as long as he needs it, and then he would be okay, when he has expressed what he wanted to express. So when there is something within us which is uh, crying, which is wanting attention, and if we just hold it in our mindfulness, that yes, I am here, that much is enough. And Thich Nhat Hanh shares that as if we create a enveloping energy, a greater vibration of mindfulness, which is embracing the lower vibration or the other vibration of that disturbing feeling. And that is enough for healing to take place. But if I'm not present, if I'm not home, then who will show up? Who will embrace that crying within me? Yeah, so Snehi has shared that is it possible to be fully aware or present when we are living such a fast life? I think most of the times we have to slow down. And I think no matter how fast our lives may be, we still have moments of slowness. And if we can just make use of those few, there may be few, like you are going to the toilet, you can't do the toilet in a hurry. It's not possible. Nature is not like that. You have to sit and you have to pee, or you have to stand and you have to pee. There is no hurry there. It's not possible to shrink time there. So using those moments where no matter how fast my life may be, still brushing my teeth, become aware, just be with the brushing, be with the bathroom wherever I am, in the washroom. When we are sleeping, when we are getting up, I can't imagine, because I also, I have a particularly back to back life mostly. But I know that no matter how busy I am, I always can find time to be mindful. It is impossible, because for that I don't need anything else. Look at that. I don't need any other tool for that. I don't need a gong. I don't need a phone. I just need to be with myself. And I am with myself all the time. It's just an inner shift that is required, which is shift towards, bringing the mind back in the home, which is the body. Looking at what's going on within me. Oh, maybe this is too fast. Okay, let me slow down. Or maybe, I need, like, instead of 2 minutes, I need 10 minutes now to sit with myself. Okay, let me take these 10 minutes. So this is how discerning comes into picture. This is how we begin a good caretaker of our being. And also talking about that fast life, I mean, what is that fast life taking me towards? What am I running towards? But how do I get to this question if I don't even take out the time to sit with myself? And if that fast life is keeping me joyous, happy, progressive, of course, by all means follow that fast life. But if that fast life brings me diseases, illness, stress, then very commonsensically, isn't it time to look at what am I creating? Very commonsensically. Because at one point of time, that fast life promised me some happiness outside. But is that serving me that promise? No, it is not. So what is now important for me? That fast life, obligations, or looking at what makes me really day to day peaceful, joyous, and progressive? But that I would not get to if I don't use even the middle movement that we get. In the middle, we get many moments, no matter how fast our life may be. We are eating. When we are eating, you can't do anything but eat. You, of course, you may be running and eating, but you are eating. So just giving a loving attention to the eating. How long does it take? And you don't require any other extra tool for that. That's the big thing. No gadget is required. You are there with yourself. Just turn within and look at what's happening within. Because many a times, when we have a disease and an illness which is life threatening, that's when we wake up. Oh, I never really cared to look within. And now the being is showing up with knock, 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 the disease. Why? Because I was never home. I was always running. So the being has to at least somehow tell you that, please look at me, look at me. I am also there. So it shows up with a disease, with an illness. Why? Because I did not listen to the subtle reminders, which were like stress. Stress is a subtle reminder. Not being able to sleep is a subtle reminder that something is amiss, something is wrong. But I don't listen to those reminders. So that being has to show up with a chronic illness, like a life threatening illness, but and it thinks like, now you will show up for me. Now you will know that I need your attention. Else, how would the body tell you that I am also here? It can't speak, so it can just show up with symptoms. That's the way the body expresses itself. Stress is a symptom, headache is a symptom. Not being able to sleep is body's symptom that the mind is not home. So I think we have to just be kind and listen to these symptoms before it gets to a bigger thing. Why to reach that stage? Why not listen to little cues? Stomach is upset. You come back home within yourself and you ask yourself, okay, what did I do that troubled my stomach? You would get to know. Automatically you would get to know. But for that you have to get back home in myself. We are choosing each moment, and when we are not choosing, then also we are choosing not to choose. No one else is responsible for my life but myself. And if I can create an illness, I can also retreat that illness. So such is the power of our own self. Yeah, so knowing that no matter how fast paced life may be, even then it's not really fast enough for being mindful. No, it's not possible. We can always be mindful of things. Yeah, if we want to. So I would actually request and recommend everyone to maybe listen to this whole teaching that we heard. It's a beautiful one, very full of reminders, many reminders. And if possible, I'll share it again on the group. And wishing each one of us have a happy practice throughout the day, no matter wherever we are, how fast we are. May we have a happy practice and a beneficial practice. Yeah. Thank you for showing up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.